The owner of this establishment here is Mr. Pete Jeffrey. Hello, Uncle Bobby. I want to say thank you for allowing us to be able to utilize your space for this opportunity for us to continue this conversation of building this unity with black men, building this bonding and all that. And so, I'm really appreciative of that.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Jefferson. So we're just going to go into the second half, and we won't be all day, because I want to give all you brothers a chance to, explore Oakland. If you want to, you go to West Oakland and see where the Black Panthers originated at. Fruitvale Station is not too far from here, where Oscar was murdered. Also, there's a mural that's painted right on 14th and Alice Street, which is maybe 5 blocks from here. Who knows this area? But it's about 5 blocks from here, right on 14th, right on this street here, just straight down.
East.
Yeah, just walk east about 4 blocks, and you actually will be able to see this mural. It's massive, but it shares the history of Oakland. I mean, it's very powerful, and I've been blessed to actually been put on this mural myself, so it's historical. But anyhow, I want to just kind of open and continue to do it how we've been doing it. One of the things I didn't do earlier, and I usually hate missing the spiritual connection that we need to maintain the strength that we need to keep going forward, is when we did libation. But Dr. Blanchard, could you just open us in prayer on the second half so we can keep moving forward?
I can do so.
Yeah, because we didn't do that in the first stage, but, my mistake. But we can capture it now.
No problem. I think the Spirit of God was present, and I think He was present in that room. My spiritual tradition tells me that where 2 or 3 are gathered together in His name, there He is in the midst of them, and He was and is in the midst of us. And let us continue in that vein on this day at this time, as one African people before God, who has established us and placed us on this earth for a purpose. Let us bless God and thank Him for the purpose which He has given us. Father God, we bless You, and we thank You, we glorify You, we magnify You, we lift You up, and we give You thanks and praise in the deepest recesses of who we are as African people. You have created us and put us in this black body, in these black bodies for a reason, on purpose, created with 2 feet and 2 hands, 5 fingers on each hand, 5 toes on each foot, with eyes and nose and ears and mouth, 5 senses in this body. You have put us in this body, men, on this earth, that we might glorify You, that we might walk in Your will and in Your direction. We ask You on this day, at this time, to continue, dear God, to give us direction. Show us our purpose. Open up our eyes that we might see You in every circumstance, in every situation. Open up our ears that we may hear You through Your word speak to our hearts and our minds. We ask that You would open up our minds, liberate our minds, remove the shackles from off our minds, and set us free. For we know that he who the Son has made free is free indeed. We bless You and we trust You for doing so. I pray and offer this prayer to You in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. So basically how we're going to conclude this is our brother here, Brother Yusef Salaam, who was a part of the original Central 5-part young man that was arrested back in the day, 1986? 89. 89. I was going to share some words with us. Dr. Tony Jackson, and to show the power of Dr. Tony Jackson, Dr. Frank Williams as you heard speak earlier, was actually a student of Dr. Tony Jackson. And what was the other brother's name? Dr. Jones. You know, and matter of fact, when he was a student of Dr. Tony Jackson, he was just trying to get his associates. That's right? Am I saying it right? So, you know, he's been well fed, you know, and has risen up to his own standard and doing what he can to bring about the real systemic change that we need in our community. As many of us others in this room, you know, and that's what makes this so powerful, because we all have our unique story to tell. But not only that, as Brother Greg said, we're put here to run an errand?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
You know, and you just know what your errand is, and you run that race,
Yes, sir.
run that errand, you know. Because if all of us do just a little bit that God has given us to do, no one person has to do it all.
Right.
You know, and that's what will keep us moving forward. And then of course, after Yusef speak, you know, we'll open the floor for those that may want to share a word or two with the brothers. And then we'll conclude with that, because I want you to have an opportunity to immerse yourself not only in rest, but also here in Oakland, especially for those who have never been to Oakland. You know, you're definitely going to need a tour guide, I would think. So you're going to the safe areas. And we all got, you know, we all come from the hood anyway, so we know. But we want to see some culture, you know, some real growth. So, Dr. Yusef, why don't you come on up?
Yes, sir.
I said Dr. Yusef.
So, can all y'all hear me good?
Yes.
All right. You know, I was rethinking the question, what is your purpose? And as I rethought it, the first word that came to mind was my purpose is to be. And I realized that when I started this journey, I was thrust into a situation that I had no knowledge of, no prior information. Although my mom had told me about her growing up in the Jim Crow South and all of that stuff and what it meant, I was looking at my mom like, but we in New York. Like I couldn't connect with what she was saying, you know? I turned 15 and I get arrested for a crime that I didn't commit. And I knew I didn't do it. My mom knew I didn't do it because she knew her son. And she was my strongest rock, my strongest pillar for me in terms of what I was doing and in terms of what I was about to go through. And so what I thought about as this thing kept rising in my mind about what is my purpose, because I kept thinking about it. I said, I feel like I didn't give justice to what I said, even though I understood it for what it meant for me. But then I started thinking about the tradition of what happens in many families. And that tradition is, when a child is born, you name that child. And in the tradition that I come from, my birth certificate said for 7 days, boy Salaam. Because the child in the tradition I come from, which is Islam, is born nameless. And so instead of having a baby shower before the birth of the child comes, and people come and they bring gifts and things of that nature, the so-called baby shower situation happens after the baby is born in Islam. And they have what they call a baby naming ceremony where people bring gifts and they welcome this person who has come into the world. I wrote a poem about it in my book called, I think it's called I Am or something like that, but it's about finding out who this person is. Because each of us were born into this world with a purpose. Each of us are born into this world. Each of us have a seed within us that's going to give us everything that we need. And so I was in blue with this, with the name. My name is actually a very long name. My name is Yusef Idris Fadil Abdus Salam. And I never knew what my name meant, because when I would ask my mom, what does my name mean? She would say, boy born with hair on his head. And I said, okay, I guess I'm a boy born with hair on my head. You know what I'm saying? But it's funny because now I bring it back full circle because here I am now in the prison industrial complex. And when I was growing up, it was like people had a speech impediment. When they would say, hey, what's your name? I would say Yusef, and they would say Joseph. And I would say, no, Yusef. And they would say Joseph. And they said it so much that I said, it's close enough. You know what I'm saying? So here I am now in prison. Here I am now faced with a situation that I have no prior knowledge of. People are coming around me and they are blessing me. They are blessing me. And I get to prison. And someone said, who are you? And in my ignorance, I said, I'm Yusef Salaam, you know, the guy that they falsely accused of raping that white woman in Central Park. And in their wisdom, they said, I know that. But my question was, who are you? And I said, damn. Because it was just like it was like Neo in the Matrix. Like straight up. I said, damn, I don't know who I am. And so I had to go back and do the knowledge. And now here I am doing the research. And I said, damn, people called me, when I said my name, they would say Joseph. And I said, well, who's Joseph? And so I kid you not, I started reading anything and everything I could get my hands on. Because see, I took prison, and instead of allowing time to do me, I did the time. Come on. I turned that time into something else. I allowed this situation to mold and shape me, right? And so now I'm reading anything and everything I can get my hands on. And I found out that there was a man named Joseph who lived some time ago, who was chosen by God to do something. And that man, at a young age, was accused of a crime he didn't commit. And that crime was rape. And was found out through time that he didn't do it. And I was floored when I read that. Because I straight up, I was like, this is biblical. I'm getting out of here. I came home to parole. I came home to having to register underneath the Megan's list. But in the process of me trying to research who I am, I came across this one Hebrew book. And this book said that the word Yusef comes from the Hebrew, which means he enlargeth, or he increased. And by he, who is the he? God, right? And I said, wow, this is deep. And then, as you do the knowledge more, my middle name is Idris, which is the Arabic version of the prophet Enoch in the Bible, which means, or he was considered the first teacher. Fa'adil is a word that is two words joined together with honor, or with justice. Fa'adil, with justice. And the last name everybody knows because people know Salam means peace, right? And so as I go back to the beginning of this story, I'm reminded that in the tradition I come from, a child is born nameless. Because as the child comes into this world, the parent is ordered to observe the child, to figure out who is this that has come. And then after that 7-day period, they name that child and have a ceremony and bring the community together to let the people know who has come. And so I found out in prison that the name that my parents gave me was God will increase the teacher with justice and peace. And I was floored.
Hallelujah.
And I knew then that my purpose in life was to teach. Through the experiences that I went through, but I knew that it wasn't a unique experience. It's almost like when we think about the atrocities of loved ones that we're meeting for the first time, and sometimes for the second and third time, who have already lost their sons and their daughters to the violence of the police officers and the violence that we have imposed upon ourselves. You know, This right here is, like when I heard the call, when Uncle Bobby gave the call, and I heard the call, I said, you know what? I want to come out here and I want to bring my wife. Because I always have these war stories. I call them war stories because, you know, you always talk about these great experiences that you had. And she had the awesome opportunity yesterday to sit with us at the lunch counter. And we were talking and we were listening to you and the words and wisdom that you gave us. And I couldn't have done it justice to tell her that I was sitting at the table and I could tell her what I heard, but for her to be able to be there, to experience this, to go through it with me so that we can go back, because she's my assistant. You know, they talk about the helpmeet or the helpmate.
Yes, sir.
She's the one who helps me to do what I have to
Yes,
do.
sir.
You know, when I came home, people said I was making up for lost time. And in a way I was, you know, because I had 10 children. Hey, listen, I started off with the biblical reference, right? That biblical reference. Biblical reference said, it said, be fruitful and multiply. You know what I'm saying?
No TV in that house.
I catch up on the iPad. You know, but I got to be very honest about that, though. Even that. My wife, when I met her, she had 3 babies. And I had 3 babies myself. And we were so, you know, I think we both were apprehensive about telling each other that we had children. You know, because when you have, as a man, if you have 3 children, that's not just one child. That's like, you know, and especially in the African American community, Africans in America community, because I got to replace that in writing.
Amen.
Africans in America community. A lot of times it's not just one baby mama, right? That's just the reality, you know. But in my case, it was. But as me and my wife began to court each other, and I said to her once, I said, man, I gotta, you know, I keep on missing dates, and she keeps on missing dates, and I don't know why she's missing dates, but I know I'm missing dates because I don't want to tell her the truth. But I got 3 daughters. And so one day I said, I just gotta come out and tell her. I said, listen, I got something to tell you. I got 3 daughters. That's why I keep missing these dates. And I swear to you, she said, I got 3 children of myself. And so it's like, just like that, we became the Brady Bunch. Just like that. Wow. And as we began to build our family, we had, you know, she had 2 boys and a girl, and I had 3 girls. And even though I know the man has the gene that produces both male and female, I felt like she had 2 boys, so there might, you know, something's inside her that's going to allow me to get that boy. And so we had a child, and it was a girl. And we had another child, and it was a girl. So if you keep them count, that's 8 is enough. Right. And then we had another child. It was a girl. And I felt blessed. I'm going to tell you, I felt blessed because, you know, even though sometimes the woman is looked down upon when you have a female child, I come from a tradition that tells you that this is one of the greatest things that you can do. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the likes with, you know, El Haj Melisha Bash. She had 6 daughters. I said, man, I'm doing good. You know? And I know y'all heard me say I had 10 children, and if you keep it count, that's 9. And when my wife told me that she was pregnant, or we were pregnant again, I said, wow, this is a blessing. I said, I guess I got another girl coming.
Number 10 is a son.
And number 10 was a son. Not only was number 10 a son, but my wife comes to me around the time of my birthday. And she's apologizing, and I'm like, what's going on? She said, I'm so sorry. You know, they're telling me that the baby is problems and complications with the baby, and they're gonna have to do emergency procedures and all of this stuff, and we might be in the hospital for your birthday. I said, that's a blessing. You know? So my son was born to me on my birthday on 2016. And I gave him my name. And I said, I hope he never has to live through the experiences and the harsh realities that I went through. that he'll have all of the benefit and none of the pain. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it's about. That vision about being an elder that we heard earlier, be able to say, man, I remember back in the days, man, we was killing each other. We don't have no murders in the black family now. I remember when all of this madness was going on. Our highest aspirations was to be liked by them. But we can never get the complexion for protection. This just don't work with us. No way, no how will they ever see us as equal. Because, as my brother so eloquently put it, in his book on the cover it says $40 million slavery. He was talking about the football players. They always see us as a commodity. They always see us as a dollar. And so they got jobs for us when Donald Trump, I mean, he wasn't just stepping on the black community forever. You know what I'm saying? He talked about how he got this loan from his dad and didn't want to give up the loan amount. And if you look at us, here we won our lawsuit. We were found to be innocent of the crime of raping the Central Park Robbery 13 years after we were accused. You can't find 13 in most buildings. They consider it an unlucky number. For us, it was a blessing. 13 years we were found to be innocent. 2002 rolls around. Everything that was associated with us was negative, turned into a positive. The black and brown community was always behind us. But everybody else started just embracing us and loving on us. And I said, wow. But it took another 12 years for us to receive a dime from the city. My mother said that she was looking at this situation, and this is the way they do it. They draw things out, and they hope you just give up, you know, just give it up. Or they hope you die in the process. My mother is a survivor of stage 4 cancer. She took it back to the original times when she was building us up and raising us up. I remember coming outside when I was a youngster, and my snacks would be, I would come outside with a Ziploc bag, and matter of fact, it wasn't even Ziploc back then because it wasn't zipped, right? We had the open piece. You had the flap open. I don't know if the young people know about that, but back in the days, you had that. It was like you had to flap it over. You know what I'm saying? But in my snack bag, I would have, carrots. I would have sprouts. I would have celery. This is what we ate as youngsters. And the only reason why that stopped was because I started hanging out with the people from the community who wasn't part of the tradition that I was a part of. And it wasn't that they wasn't a part of it, it was that we were all latchkey children. But we never really knew it. And so now as they're making fun of me, and it wasn't bullying, and I didn't feel like I was being bullied, but it was making fun of me. Man, what you eating, sprouts and carrots? Man, taste some of this Snicker bar. And so slowly but surely I got away from that health of eating. And I started eating what they were eating. And slowly but surely, we were starting to tell my mom, come on, Mom, we want to eat Wendy's. I mean, not Wendy's, we want to eat, No. We want to eat Wonder Bread. When I was growing up, anything we ate, my mother made. My mother, if we wanted a sandwich, we went into the pantry. My mother had already made the loaf of bread that she baked. That we would cut from the loaf and make our sandwiches from that. If we wanted yogurt, she made the yogurt. She turned the machine to make the ice cream. My mother did all of that stuff. And she's a survivor of cancer because she went back to that same origin of health and was able to make sure that she was alive and around to be able to see the fruits of what happened with this case. And so I found that the purpose that I've been given is not that I'm one of the Central Park Five, not that I'm a survivor of the criminal system of injustice, and I call it that on purpose, but that I was able to get out of this thing. They didn't see me. See, when they looked at me, they said, this 15-year-old tall boy who thinks he's a man, we're going to chop him down. We're going to destroy him. And so that same death that has happened to some of us, and some of our sons and some of our daughters, they were trying to do that to me by putting me in the prison industrial complex to start this spiral out of control. But they didn't see me. They didn't see me. Because even on the day, and I'm going to share this with you just before I sit down, the day when they convicted us, prior to that, we were given instructions. And those instructions were, you're going to be able to stand up and say some words to the judge and to the room. And we encourage you to throw yourself on the mercy of the court. We encourage you to seek leniency. This is what we encourage you. But in those few moments, or those few months, prior to me, we didn't have, in the black and brown community, we already know, I'm speaking to the choir, we already know it. When we get convicted, they don't give us, they don't give us time to go home and have a going away party. We got to get up, put our hands behind our back, and we're let off to the system right then and there. We don't got no time to pack nothing, get prepared for nothing. It is what we got to go now. And so in my going now, here I was there, and I was reading, and I was trying to understand, and I was trying to remember and connect, and that whole process of Sankofa was happening, and it's continuing to happen now. That process was happening to me, and in that process, I was thinking about what advice and the instructions that I was given, that I should throw myself on the mercy of the court. But my heroes was folks like Marcus Garvey, folks like Denmark Vesey, folks like Malcolm X, folks like Farrakhan, folks like Elijah. And in that moment, when they told me I was going to say something, they said, Yusef Salaam, do you have anything to say before we sentence you? And I said, yes. And as they gave me the stage, they didn't see me, but I saw them. And I rose to my feet, and these are the words that came out. I'm not going to sit here at your table and watch you eat and call myself dinner. Whoa. Sitting here at your table doesn't make me dinner. Whoa. Just like being here in America doesn't make me an American. Let us begin. Stress is the anger that is built up inside. Rage is the anger that is no longer built. Taking on a sucker that soon you have killed. American free will doesn't mean you can kill. And take another person's life, you live your life trife. I'm a skill builder, so much skills I do build. Created giving knowledge to this wise black man, soon to enhance my words across the land. I'm a smooth type of fellow, cool, calm, and mellow. I'm kind of laid back, but now I'm speaking so that you know. I got used and abused, and even was put on the news. Without clues, they gave clues. Selling out like fools. Now check this. Who did what and who did who in? Put in a situation that you don't know what to do in. Some brothers go wilding, we're not down with them. Who would have thought I'd have to lock in? I stand accused. Checking the scene from how the situation was. Instead of getting facts, the media made you blur. Now the people don't know. All they see is the media. They never hear the blame because they're constantly deceiving us. Then I looked at the DA. I had the audacity to look at the DA. And I said, they're constantly deceiving us. The DA is dead wrong. This is your master plan? This case is not a case, it's just a crafted sham. Yo, instead of trying to get your name made, it's reconstructing the crime that really pays. Islam. La ilaha illallah, being supreme over Satan, but no man is Allah, Yasama, science dropper on the righteous path. So how the hell could I take a rapist path? Think about that, and then think about this. All my friends, it was me they dissed, they're dismissed. Because I don't really need any friends like that. When I really needed you, where were you at? I'm not dissing them all, but the ones that I called that tried to diss me, Like I was an inch small, like a rat, a mouse, not even the man wrongly accused, like the knife's in my hand? How does it look? Meat clocked, now I'm shook. But like Matlock, soon the accused gets off the hook. It's real when she remembers and says, damn, the cops did you in, I stand accused. You people stop. This racial disperse, say, yo, you seen that kid Benson? He's in a hearse. And so we take it to the Benson hearse fields, white's got bulletproof vests. We had no kinds of shields. How does it look? They killed the black man, being black. It's time we take a stand. In our situation, you saw our faces clear, but not mine. Not because of fear. It's because the black race was disgraced for the Muslim. They must have felt shame. But I'm not to blame with the words you bought. The media took our words to paper, the ones the cops distorted. I told the cops truth like this, and then boom, they were smacking my man Corey Wise in the next room. Now I know why the rosters can't stand the Bobby line. They never helped, they just babble on. I used to think the people and the cops were cool, but who protects us from you? I stand accused, and I sat back down. That judge's face was so red, his expression told me he wanted to change the law if he could right then and there to disallow people to have a statement before they get sentenced. He looked like he wanted to throw the whole book at me. But that was my last stance. And it's crazy because like when I thought about that later on, and I said to the system, I said the truth is going to come out. 13 years later, the truth came out. It took a whole another 12 years for them to give us a dime. Donald Trump took out a full-page ad in all of New York City's major newspapers back then. This wasn't like, you know what, they are convicted, I am going to take out an ad. This was 2 weeks after we were accused. He took the ad out and placed it in the paper to, as they say, affect the jury pool. And that cry that they cried out, these 2 weeks after we were accused, was a cry that had reached into the darker enclaves of society, the bowels of the earth. And I'm not talking about the places that they put us in. I'm not talking about those places. I'm talking about the places where the white folks had to go into hiding to hide their hatred for us as a people. And so now you had folks revealing themselves like Pat Buchanan. Because after Donald Trump called out for the death penalty to be reinstated for our case,
Innocent people.
Pat Buchanan wrote in the papers shortly thereafter. This was May, the crime time frame. The crime happened April 19th, 1989. Donald Trump's ad was already placed in the paper May 1st of 1989. Pat Buchanan's pen began to write that we should take the eldest one. You can research this. We should take the eldest one, Corey Wise. He was only 16 years old. And we should hang him from a tree in Central Park. And we should take the others and horsewhip them. And then he said, maybe the city's park will be safe again. This is all in the, this is history right there. This wasn't Jim Crow. This wasn't in slavery. But I gotta do the knowledge. We gotta recreate and retell this story. This wasn't any of that. This was 1989. And what they tried to do to me was give me a social debt. And when I got to prison, and I started doing this time, and I'm bumping into folks who were original members of the Black Panther Party, who were original members of the Black Liberation Army. They told me, prison for me was so beautiful. It was so peaceful, even though there was madness going on around. I came across a poem that said, prison life in many ways can be likened to the womb, if the life inside becomes stillborn. the womb becomes a tomb. And I refuse to become stillborn behind those walls. And as those elders begin to put their hands around me and bless me and tell me that I was a political prisoner before I even knew what a political prisoner was or meant, they asked me if I knew what my numbers were and meant. And I knew my numbers. Didn't know what they meant. Every day when they said on the count, you got to get up and say your name and your number. My number was 95A1113 when I got into the adult facility. And I just thought it was a number. But it signified that in 1995, I turned 21. A meant that I turned 21 in the first part of the year. And 113 was the position. 1113 was the position. My birthday is February 27th. And so as a birthday gift, they shaved my hair and they kicked me out of the youth facility and placed me in the adult facility. And they attached that number to me. And so that meant that from January 1st to February 27th, I was the 1,113th person to enter the door of that prison industrial complex. It was February. It was February. And see what they didn't see. They didn't see the hand of God. They didn't see the hand of God at all. Because they thought that that was going to destroy me. But they gave me a platform at 15. Like I said, they gave me the stage, 15. And I took this opportunity to be able to learn, educate, and realize and understand that my position in what they tried to do was so great that here and now I can be able to take this message of what happened to me and not just talk about the Central Park jogging case, because I don't just talk about that. Because I could talk about that, but I talk about all of the injustices that go on. And I also talk about the ways that we can help and bridge and connect so that we can heal this. Because my professor, one of my professors, I'll never forget this. My professor was Dr. Marimba Ani. Oh, yeah. And Dr. Ani said to me, she said, you know, Yusef, if we decided that this system of oppression should end, we could end it by tomorrow. Farrakhan said that our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb. If we decided that this system of oppression should end, just like that, it'd be gone. We won't have to throw a rock at all. Because see, we're being played. We're on that, I don't know if anybody saw that picture. It's a depiction of a chessboard. Well, really, it's a depiction of a checkers board. And as you zoom out of the checkers board, and there's people on the board. And there's black people, black and brown bodies on the board. As you zoom out of the board, it's a chessboard. So we're playing checkers on a lower level, but they're playing chess on the upper level. But it's a table. And as you realize, we're in a prayer position and the table's on our backs. All we got to do is get up.
Thank you.